Every time a time capsule has been opened in the last decade, I've been there to document it, and every single one contained the same handwritten note. Don't open the one buried in 2026. Different ink, different paper, different languages, different continents. But always that same sentence, sitting on top of whatever the community thought was worth sending to the future. Like the past itself was trying to override its own message. The first one I saw was in 2017, a small town capsule from 1985 in Nebraska. Local news, faded Polaroids, a cassette tape, and one folded piece of paper that didn't match anything else in the box. The mayor read it aloud for the cameras, laughing at first. Don't open the one buried into 026. We all assumed it was a joke someone had slipped in later. The handwriting looked modern. The ink hadn't even begun to fade. The town shrugged and moved on. I filed a human interest piece and forgot about it until the second one. 2 years later, I flew to Scotland to cover the opening of a 1962 capsule under a village hall. The metal cylinder was rusted, the documents inside brittle. The note on top wasn't different paper this time, rough and yellowed, written in looping, old-fashioned script. Same sentence, don't open the one buried in 2026. The committee joked about coincidences, about viral marketing, about how memes travel further than we think. I laughed with them, but something in my chest went cold. By the time I stood in a Tokyo plaza in 2023, watching officials lift the lid off a capsule buried in 1999, the pattern had become impossible to ignore. Different city, different language, different decade, same message, adjusted only for translation. Don't open the one buried in 2026. International researchers started quietly comparing notes. Photos circulated in private group chats. Handwriting styles that didn't match. Inks that predated modern pens. Chemical analyses that insisted the papers were genuinely as old as the capsules themselves. No evidence of tampering. No forgeries anyone could prove. Just a chorus from across time, repeating one line, don't open the one buried in 2026. I joined the research team the year the pattern finally pointed at something specific. A planned capsule, scheduled to be buried in a small city park in 2026, part of a civic message to the future initiative. We traced municipal planning records, corporate sponsorship deals, even the school essay contest that would determine which letters went inside. Every thread led to the same point on the calendar. The warnings weren't vague anymore. They had a date and a GPS coordinate. In meetings, we argued. Some of us wanted the project shut down entirely, no capsule, no risk. Others insisted we should let them bury it and then dig it up immediately, before whatever was supposed to happen could take hold. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Moreau, argued for something stranger. Let it be buried, then walk away, never open it. Let the warnings stand and leave whatever was inside to rot in the dark. I tried to play the skeptic, tried to say all the right things about confirmation bias and pattern seeking and how humans are great at turning coincidences into prophecies. But every night when I closed my laptop, that one sentence floated up behind my eyes. Don't open the one buried in 2026. The words didn't feel like advice anymore. They felt like a plea. The night before the ceremony, I dreamed about it. In the dream, I wasn't watching from the edge of the crowd with my press badge and camera. I was inside the ground, in the hollow where the capsule waited. It wasn't there yet, but something else was. A pressure, a presence, a kind of awareness compressed into a space barely big enough for a metal cylinder. It didn't have a shape, it had a direction forward. When the capsule lowered into place above me, it wasn't empty. It was already full, not with objects, not with letters from school children or photographs in plastic sleeves. It was filled with a sound I couldn't quite hear, a voice that seemed to be playing backwards, syllables dragging over each other, scrambling time as it spoke. I understood just one thing with absolute clarity. This wasn't the first message. It was the last. Everything else, the notes from 1985, 1962, 1999 had been earlier attempts to say the same thing, echoing back along the timeline, hoping someone would listen. I woke up with my heart hammering and the taste of earth in my mouth. The clock said for 12 a.m. I wrote everything down while my hands still shook. By sunrise, the dream felt thin, like all dreams do under daylight, but the fear didn't. We met at the park at 9 a.m. The sky was clear, the grass still damp. Kids waved little flags. A local TV station set up a tripod. The mayor gave a speech about legacy and history and speaking to those yet unborn. Then the capsule arrived on a small cart, polished metal gleaming, future artifacts sealed inside. I caught Dr. Moreau's eye. She shook her head almost imperceptibly. I knew she'd had dreams too. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "This is your last chance," she whispered to the project lead while the mayor smiled for the cameras. "Don't bury it. Change the date, change the location, break the pattern." He smiled the way people smile when they've stopped listening. "We can't cancel now," he said. "It's just a box in the ground. We're scientists, not superstitious villagers. The best way to debunk this is to follow through and study what happens." They lowered it. The sound of the capsule hitting the bottom of the hole was softer than I expected. A dull, hollow thud that seemed to echo longer than it should have. For a moment, the air felt wrong, too still, like the pause before a power outage. Then the workers shoveled dirt back in, tamped the ground, and the crowd applauded. Kids released balloons. A brass band played something cheerful. The official plan was simple. Leave it sealed for 50 years, unopened, untouched, a future problem for future archivists. 3 hours later, the screaming started. I was in the municipal building, still reviewing footage, when the first sound reached us high, raw, unmistakable. Then another from a different direction. Then several at once. I ran to the window. People were stumbling away from the capsule site, hands clamped over their ears or eyes, some on their knees in the grass. I bolted for the door. The moment my foot hit the grass, something pressed against my skull from the inside, like an idea too big for the space it was trying to occupy. I tasted metal. The air felt thick, hard to swallow. Around the buried capsule, the world seemed to ripple, not visibly, but in my perception, like reality was buffering. People moved too slowly, sound stretched. I didn't see anything climb out of the ground. Nothing broke the surface. The dirt remained flat, the grass untouched. But whatever I had felt in my dream, compressed in that waiting hollow, was no longer contained. It spread. The screams grew worse. Some people clawed at their own ears as if trying to pull something out. Others lay perfectly still, eyes wide, mouths open in a silence more terrifying than the noise. One woman stood motionless, tears streaming down her face, whispering the same phrase over and over. "It's too late, it's too late, it's too late." Emergency services arrived within minutes, but they couldn't explain what was happening. No gas leak, no chemical exposure, no evidence of anything. Yet people kept collapsing, kept screaming, kept clawing at invisible things only they could see. By nightfall, the park was cordoned off, 37 people hospitalized, most catatonic. Some still whispering fragments in languages they'd never learned, words that sounded backwards, like recordings played in reverse. Dr. Moreau and I stayed behind after the evacuation, watching the burial site from behind yellow tape. The ground looked normal, undisturbed, just dirt and grass and one small bronze plaque marking where the capsule lay. "We need to dig it up," I said. "And do what?" she asked, her voice hollow. "Open it?" "That's what the warning said not to do. We never opened it. We buried it, and this happened anyway." She turned to look at me, and in the dim light I saw the exhaustion, the terror she'd been holding back. "Then maybe the warnings were never about opening it at all," she whispered. "Maybe they were about letting it exist, giving it a place in time." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed, an email from the university archive department. Forwarded without comment, attached was a scanned image of a handwritten note, discovered that afternoon during routine digitization of old municipal records. The note was dated 1953. The handwriting was mine. It read, "They buried it today. We can't stop it now. All we can do is warn them. Send this message back as far as it will go. Don't open the one buried in 2026. My hands went numb. I showed Dr. Moreau the screen. She stared at it for a long time, then looked back at the burial site. "It's not warning us," she said quietly. "It's warning everyone else. We're already past the point of no return." A sound started then, low and rhythmic, coming from beneath the ground. Not digging, not movement, breathing, deep, slow, deliberate breaths, like something waking up after a very long sleep. We both stepped back from the edge of the tape. The breathing continued, steady and patient, syncing with the pulse I could feel hammering in my throat. Dr. Moreau grabbed my arm. "We need to leave, now." But as we turned to run, I felt it the same pressure from my dream, the presence that had been waiting in the hollow. It wasn't in the ground anymore. It was behind us. And when I finally worked up the courage to look over my shoulder, I saw nothing. Just empty air, grass swaying gently in the breeze, the park silent except for that slow, rhythmic breathing that seemed to be coming from everywhere at once. The capsule is still buried. We never dug it up. We never opened it, but every night since I hear that breathing in my apartment, in my car, in rooms where I'm certain I'm alone. And every morning I find new note slips of paper in my own handwriting, warning me about things that haven't happened yet. Yesterday's note said, "It's not in the capsule anymore. It's in you." Tonight, as I write this, my hand is moving on its own, forming words I don't remember thinking. Don't open the one buried in 2026. It's already too late for me, but maybe someone somewhere will read this in time. If every message from the past says stop, listen. Some warnings travel backwards because forward is too late. Follow Midnight Manuscripts for more horror stories.